Hello guys, and welcome back to Strategic Command World War II, World at War with our Allied playthrough. In the last episode, we got through the UK, China, and quite a lot of Russia. In fact, the UK, we finally started getting the Pacific Fleet up, holding back our offensive since the Russian offensive is going very quickly. China, not much of interest. We finally got anti-air and some other stuff out to Taiwan, and we're waiting for supply to catch up on Okinawa. I did accidentally delete General Stilwell from the game. I replaced him with a better one, because I thought he would maintain his presence in the HQ reserve here, but he's not in America, he's not in China, he's just, poof, gone, even though every other HQ leader we replace goes into the pool. He is gone, which is unfortunate. In fact, that was so distracting, I'm realizing that I totally forgot to maybe try to carry out some sort of offensive against the Third Army here, whose supply has gone from 5 to 4 rather rapidly due to it being surrounded. If we attack right now, we actually will still suffer losses, so we don't need to attack right now. We can just leave it here. Again, there's not a lot we can do as China right now, so this is pretty much fine the way it is. So we can just go look at the Soviets again. Oh, is this still the same turn? I moved this up here? It is, yes. Where we have done most of what we can do, but there is still a couple more things. One thing of note is the 1st Guards Army from the east in Siberia can be deployed up to the front, so I think that would be probably a pretty smart thing to do. Of course, it can only deploy as far as we have supply, so let's go ahead and deploy that army. Let's say, maybe not down here. Maybe I want the tanks to be around the corner here. Maybe I can send the tanks to right here where this rifle corps is, so I can retreat it and get it replenished in a safe location. Yeah, let's try that. So, we'll send this rifle corps back, and then we'll take the tanks here, the Guards heavy tanks. No, I'm already hitting all the wrong buttons. Jesus Christ. We'll take the Guards Army. There you go. Hey, good job, Rez. Alright, that'll go up to the front. It's an army. It's not in any entrenchments, but it's still a quality unit that will hopefully be able to hold the line. We'll reinforce the corps that is in the rear here, and then we'll go ahead and, take the tanks, and then we'll send them down to the front right here, where they can hopefully make a pretty big difference, as we're mostly relying on mechanized that do not have their second strikes, unfortunately. 294 MPPs remaining, and we probably do want to get this into some kind of research. One important thing to start getting for the USSR could be some long-range aircraft to help the paratroopers, but also the fighters. However, just going for fighter upgrades themselves might be even more important. But we'll go ahead and get long-range aircraft, because we do have Advanced Fighters 1, so getting the long-range aircraft could be good. We have 119 MPPs left to spend, and most of our pushes anywhere else are pretty much done, and we're being a little bit conservative with the pushing to try to not completely throw our MPPs away. We are trading equal blows when the equal blows are more like 1-to-1 or 2-to-2, sometimes not even 2-to-2. 3-to-3, I try to avoid trading at possible times. Like also here, I don't feel like trading 2 for 2 against this enemy. So instead I'm going to go ahead and reinforce this mechanized on the front to get that a bit ready for some maybe better things, entrench it in the time being, because the Germans are stretched thin. We don't have to stretch ourselves to the brink necessarily to keep up with them. This northern area matters quite a bit. However, it looks like everything up north is pretty much reinforced and taken care of, ignoring the stuff up here. However, we do have a lot of losses happening down south. Naturally, it's mostly infantry that could definitely use replacements. Namely, we can spend pretty much the rest of our MPPs available reinforcing the 26th Army here. That would be a little expensive. We wouldn't be able to get like the anti-tank or anything else reinforced up to the front, but since this is already on the front, let's just say, fuck it, go ahead, reinforce the 26th Army. That leaves us 1 MPP that we can utilize. Can't do much with that. These paratroopers are ready to fly out and land somewhere. With the Kiev fighters currently replacing, the 4th paratroopers would not have any fighter cover if they actually did try to deploy. So, yeah, there's also nowhere that we could guaranteed get them that would really help. We'll just leave them here, prepared just in case. The Zhukov HQ can move forward to Kherson, so I will go ahead and move him forward to Kherson, since he does have his upgrades that he needs. And with that, we do have everything that we plan on doing for this turn. I'm excited to get away from this turn and leave my deletion of Stillwell in the past, just as I left behind the fall of France, the fall of Poland, and all that other stuff. Let's go ahead and hit end turn and see what the Axis will do in response to our many advances and also some of our silence. U.S. forces deploy in Samoa. Okay, didn't expect that. A free tank unit in Samoa. French partisans disrupt supply in Nancy. Okay, that's good. That hurts their MPPs. Fortress completed. That doesn't really matter at all, but cool. Allied vessels blockade Bordeaux. That's not going to affect much, but my goal here is to hopefully, if I can remotely have a chance of nerfing the Spanish's ability to travel up and down. It probably won't work like that. America getting infantry weapons too, that could be useful. Infantry weapons, progress, amphibious warfare for China, yeah! Production technology level 3, India develops logistics level 2, okay. They need amphibious warfare is what they need. Everyone needs that now. Let's see, anything particular? USSR still paying for the anti-tank units. America sending stuff to the UK, which is still 75%, still spring. Doesn't look like any raiding by Australia at the moment. It would show this turn, so I guess they've moved them. Otherwise, it would be showing right now. Interesting. Well, I wonder what they did with those subs. Because that means they're not where they were just reported to be. Which would be very weird. Because they did just raid, so highly confusing. Oh god, the Italians got that core from... What was that? 1 to 10? That's crazy. We took 1 damage. We died from attack because of the Spanish light cruiser showing up again. This Spanish light cruiser is getting annoying. I keep just not wanting to hunt it down because it's not really much of a threat by itself. And I didn't really have anything ready because we were reinforcing all the carriers and everything. Germans doing a lot of reinforcing on the fronts with the Soviets. Probably getting their units back up to strength, but not a lot of movements, and there's other things that have not reinforced. Let's see. Destroyer from Japan, finally unblockading that little passageway. The Italian submarine heading down towards the Suez. Good thing I'm not sailing things up through the Suez. Oh, Japanese surface fleet heading south towards DEI, but there's still a carrier there of some sort. Interceptors running cover, taking damage over Greece as per usual. Currently trading, for now, equal blows. Greek units here still getting bombarded. Interceptors over the Soviet Union around Cherkasy. Trading more than equal blows. Absolutely slaughtering the German planes running up on us, which is fantastic. Okay, they're going after this army that railed up here. Kiev fighters now sailing forward. Taking massive casualties again. Oh god, the Kiev fighters are having a terrible time of things. Our frontline corps getting bombarded. They're trying to go for the weakest points, or the points that would be the most valuable to hurt, such as right here. Yep. And with that, we have unfortunately just lost an army. But this kind of stuff will happen. I knew they would chase this fucker. I knew they would chase him. Are they going to kill him? He's amazingly still alive and has retreated into fortifications. Alright, well at least that one survived. And we did get the Germans off their defenses. Minsk is still lashing out with that frontier corps. Doing more than it's losing, but of course its units are still superior than ours, which is why sometimes we will lose things, and it's okay. We'll be able to get them back. We're still replenishing things and moving new things up to the front anyway. We just have to keep pushing, and the damage we do will hopefully pay for anything that we lose in the long run. Looks like they will kill this corps that did the recon going up forward and pushed out the farthest. They are sort of reestablishing their lines to the best of their ability and seeing some success. However, they are still losing ground. The southern front is just strong because the southern front was always the strongest. But they're still losing massive amounts of ground, both in the south and the north. Man, they are really, really trying to kill this Greek corps. The panzers are back on the Greek front to go after the Metaxas line again. Interesting. I'll have to get that Greek corps out of Dodge. HQ has just moved up there. Okay, so we've even lured the HQ forward. I wonder if we'll be able to exploit that. Nope, never mind. He just left again. And now a Hungarian one has replaced them. You having problems thinking? Holy shit. I didn't even fucking scout for this, and this German sub just showed up near Iceland. And now, a German destroyer is sailing up on Brest. What the hell? Are you dumb? What do you... I'll take the kills, but why? Mexico joins the Allies. Okay. Wasn't expecting that. Yeah, I gotta learn all these historical events and, like, who's guaranteed to join. The Roma battleship launched by the Regia Marina. Okay. So Mexico's in the war. That's cool. That'll help America's MPPs. I wonder if Venezuela joins. I'm still so annoyed about the money I spent. Probably for no reason. Still blocking the port of Bordeaux. We have disrupted Sweden-Germany convoys. Yay. Awesome. Alright. This learning playthrough. I make so many mistakes. I'm amazed I'm doing as well as I am. Got 10 of their MPPs in that convoy. That's nice. German HQ near Niche. Only a garrison on Rome. Bombers up here. Interesting. Corps in Berlin. Yeah, we knew that. Fighters in Dubrovnik or whatever. Modlin still has that bomber there. Paratroopers near Kyoto. Interesting. A battleship in the North Atlantic. Okay, well, we're not using that. We're not using that. Finally, the Hellenic fighters are here, as well as another battleship, special forces for India, and tactical bombers for China. Let's deploy these units. North Carolina battleship at LA. Let's definitely get that deployed. The Chinese tactical bombers could go wherever the hell I want. Their main function is probably going to be anti-ship. So for right now, we'd want them somewhere around the coast. So let's put them over here by Amoy. The Hellenic Greek fighters can deploy. I'll hold those for now. We'll try to figure out where to squeeze them in a moment. The Indians have some special forces that can deploy. We could put that up by Calcutta. We could put this over by Madras, so long as... Well, it's special forces. Special forces don't even... I learned this. I don't know if I mentioned it. They don't even need a port to actually embark. So we'll put it over by the HQ, just not next to the port. We've still had no luck with our diplomatic chits, but let's go ahead and focus on the USSR first and see if we can end them on a good note, seeing as we just got some losses with them, unfortunately. This army is surrounded. Supplies are going down. Yeah, Minsk supplies are absolutely plummeting. They keep striking out, but their supply is super low, and their attacks are getting weaker. It does hurt us to continue to try to maintain this against them, technically speaking, because it keeps a lot of troops back here that I wouldn't otherwise keep back here, but for the time being is probably fine. We're notably more in a rush here, needing to batter away at enemies than we are in, say, China, so let's take the 11th Army and attack the 2nd Hungarian Army, dealing 4 damage, taking 1 damage. That's a fair trade, if I do say so myself. We'll move the armored train back into its position and attack as well, dealing 1 damage and taking no damage. Okay, that's something. We do have a lot of tanks here that really just need time to replenish, but we do need to keep pushing and dealing as much damage as possible where we can. Even losing the Hungarians and etc. is a win for us if they lose it, because it will thin their front more and more. So let's go ahead and attack, dealing 3 damage with this 5th tank group. We will then... Oh, this is tough. This is a really tough call to make. We'll go ahead and attack also with the 1st heavy shock tank, maybe, to try to finish it off. Or we could use this core. Let's use the core. Damn it, only getting 1 kill in, but the enemy's actually retreating. Interesting. In that case, we'll take the motorized here, the mechanized. We'll move them forward and try to finish off the Hungarians successfully with them, dealing 1 damage and taking 1. We have a lot of tanks that can move. However, we really need to get them back up to snuff. So we're going to go ahead and reinforce this tank unit. We're going to reinforce the shock heavy tanks on the front as well as these light tanks. It's important to note that supply is not keeping up. Without Minsk, it's really hard to push any further down this way without securing any new towns. We might need to strike up to assist in finishing off these enemy units more than we need to keep pushing out. Even if the enemy lines are thin, without Minsk, this is one problem, is that we're not really going to have the capability to blast through. And this core is entrenched. Running out of supply, but entrenched. Sparing whatever we can from this line, especially armies, would be nice. However, not easy. We'll take the 22nd Army and move it north a touch, where it could maybe join in destroying this German army. We'd have to trade blow for blow in some instances. At least the 13th Army can get pretty good kills, so we'll go for that. 3 damage dealt, 2 taken, so pretty much not doing as well as we were supposed to on that die roll. We'll go ahead and use the Vladivostok Corps. 1 damage dealt, none taken, exactly as we were promised. All right. That's something good. I like that. The Wodrik Corps is pretty much back up to strength, unfortunately. We'll take this 22nd Army and we will, we'll put it to use. We'll attack, dealing 3 damage and taking 1 damage, so another better than advertised result. We probably don't want to stay necessarily on this front. They have reinforced quite a bit, but we did get some good targets of opportunity, at least, up until this point. We'll take the 16th Army, which was recently attacked by the enemies at Minsk. We'll move that north to make sure we can finish off the German 11th Army. National morale bonus, nice. I don't know what the hell gives you that if you attack them when they're really weak only. Very confusing, to be honest. We'll take the 1st Corps and, this part I'm not sure about, because we can hurt this cavalry. I'll take this injured rifle corps and I'll send it up to fill in this spot right here. I'll back this corps up to fill in the spot around Minsk, which will allow me to then move the, Vladivostok Corps around to the south of Wilno and take up a more defensive position down there. The German 3rd Cavalry Division was just moved here. It has no entrenchment, so I will go ahead and attack it with my corps that's a little pushed a little too far along the front, let's just say. And then we can go ahead and we can retreat with that now to get it into a safer position back alongside this river. It actually has level 2 infantry weapon upgrades. That's kind of funny. Yeah, we'll go ahead and retreat this unit for the time being. This other corps will have maintained its position because it's defending alongside a river already and a very important bridge and juncture. And we just hope it survives any Germans that decide to focus it down. Our 47th TAC bombers can go ahead and get some replenishment, so we'll go ahead and do that. We'll take the medium bombers and keep flying them northwest, which I'm sure we have the 1st Guard tactical bomber ready and excited to do the same thing. We want the 3rd Red Fighters to go somewhere to the southwest, probably. We need to definitely fill this in more than we need fighter coverage on the other side. We'll move it as far southwest directly as we can get. That provides some pretty good coverage. So we should be able to take the 2nd Red Fighters here and sail them around here. I don't know why I'm saying sail instead of fly, but this is a pretty safe spot. We'll come down here, and that should be good enough cover from the fighters so that we can reinforce the Kiev fighters as well. That's kind of the idea I'm going for right here. And also, hopefully having 2 fighter groups means it's more likely the paratroopers will actually get to do something. But we're not done up north just yet. We are going to march our 4th Army south out of its fortifications. The enemies here are not entrenched, but they are strong. But we do want to march up to give them something to shoot at, realistically. 14th Army is going to move forward as well. We're just trying to push a line. I'm keeping the more elite 18th Army in the rear, so it's able to assist any one of these that might take some damage. The 6th Corps barely got away from its attackers, but we can get that all the way back up to snuff for a bunch of MPPs. We're going to try the same thing with this corps over here that ran away a while back. We're going to want to continue pushing. We've done most of the inflanking that we can, so we'll take this 1st Cavalry Corps and we'll attack the enemy corps here again. Dealing 1, taking 1, not quite as well as it said it would do, but we'll take what we can get. We can get something similar with the Mongolian Cavalry Corps, which will send into action again. Another 2 dealt, another 2 received. Now we have the 1st Guards heavy tank up at the front now, which has the ability with a prepared strike to finish this off. So we'll go ahead, and there you go. We have killed that German corps. I think we lost an army here, however, so maybe not the best trade, but since we are outproducing the enemies on every front, it's a trade that I'm willing to make. After all, most of our units up here would not even be alive without us getting pretty lucky with the Germans attacking, well, never, and mobilizing instead with our success in China. Or this, we wouldn't even have been in the war in time, like by this time, or the Germans would have attacked. We'll go ahead and reinforce this rifle corps for the time being. 297 MPPs remaining. We are Starting to burn through quite a bit of stuff here. It's time to trade more equal blows wherever we can, because without doing that, we're not going to make much progress. I'll start down here by having this mechanized unit go ahead and attack across the river the enemy Germans, which are barely entrenched here. Well, we dealt 2, we took 3, so a lot worse than advertised. The reason I went with the middle one first. Now the northern one can go ahead and attack. Another 2 damage dealt. Another 3 damage received. Wow, we're just getting our asses beat over here. Jesus Christ. Alright, fine. I am going to reinforce this mechanized so it can defend properly, since there's an enemy panzer group right down here. For its own safety, I'm going to go ahead and swap the Mongolian cavalry corps out with one of the corps behind it. That can take its position along the frontier against the Romanians. We can move the 21st Army up to the danger zone where we just lost an army. However, the 21st Army's elite came from the east, and hopefully it will be able to hold out a bit longer. We have the Sevastopol Corps, which we can move up, not extremely far, but far enough that we can start trading equal blows with these damn Romanians with our corps and etc. Trying to free up some more room on the front here. Let's actually start doing that. We'll use the corps that's behind the river first, the Stalingrad Corps, as dumb as that might sound, just because it's in a safer position. We killed 1 and we lost 2, way worse than advertised, unfortunately. We'll go ahead and tackle the Sevastopol Corps now, which dealt 1, lost none, so we actually did do better than advertised there. We didn't lose quite as much, which frees me up to move another corps over here in the front, where we're making any kind of progress. We might as well go for it and attack the Romanian army again. We are beating it up with corps, for what that's worth. Another 2 damage dealt, another 1 damage received, and it's being pushed back so far that I really wouldn't even be able to chase it at this point. We'll take the 1st Guards army, which are not... they're not upgraded enough, but they are elite enough that they can trade equal blows ideally with the enemy 14th Army here, which is quite a danger to us. We have 2 of the experienced Eastern armies here. We dealt 3 damage, we took 2, and I would call that a win for this engagement. We can now hopefully trade equal blows with the 21st Army that has just arrived, dealing another 2 damage, and taking only 1 damage. Okay, this is going pretty well. I will take the 12th Corps here. I'm going to move it all the way up. Ah, damn. It's not able to fucking hurt this at all. Jesus Christ, why is this so strong? It's not even that entrenched or anything. You'd think it would be easier to break, which will make the 12th Corps a pretty tempting target for the enemies next turn, but we'll see if they actually do anything with that. Now, we would ideally want to push up some more firepower. We don't have a lot of opportunity. The 43rd Army is currently sitting in a fucking marsh around Kiev. We haven't done any pushing at Kiev, and we've been getting pushed back a little bit here as well. But we can try to do something. I'll take the 1st Red Banner Army, an experienced army, and go ahead and attack the enemy 1st Corps on Kiev with it. That went absolutely terribly. We killed none and we lost 2. When we were supposed to do way, 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 way better. That sucks. There's no entrenching in this marsh, so I'm going to go ahead and back the 1st Army back. And we're going to take the 26th Army and move that forward up to the front here. I'll probably hold with the 43rd Army and just use it as a defensive fixture. The 5th Corps we have on the front probably just needs to go ahead and reinforce back up to full, so we'll go do that. We'll push this Rifle Corps, however, forward to kind of try to push our line. It's not going to be able to do any damage to any of the enemies here, but all these enemies are rather damaged already. God, I could drive right through and try to hit that, but then they just collapse on the tanks and destroy it. This corps that has recovered down here can go ahead and move up to reinforce some of our units up on the front. And then I think that's most of all the attacks we're going to do. I can move this corps up as well if I want and try to hit one of the enemies. If it's going to be any of them, it's probably going to want to be the Romanian corps here. So we'll go... Actually, no, we won't. We'll give this anti-air defense because I'd hate for that to suffer extra airstrikes. It was defending Odessa. I'm going to take the 1st Red Fighters here and move them up into this fortified town for the time being and have them just maintain a position there, if anybody. We have 248 MPPs remaining. We can put this into getting some new units up to the front. We can put this into research. I'm going to try continuously trickling at least 1 research in every turn. I mean, we're almost to the max as is, so we'll be able to focus more heavily if really nothing finishes by next turn. We'll go for one of the more expensive ones that we think will help us. For example, that would probably be advanced fighters now that we've invested in long-range aircraft. That brings us up to 1900, meaning we could only afford things that cost 100 next turn if nothing finishes, which is only naval warfare, which we're probably not going to touch. We might. It's only a one-time research kind of thing. We'll figure it out next turn. We'll just continue raiding with this submarine. We're not going to upgrade any of the ships with AA. We don't need it. We'll get the battleship back into port and have the other ships hold their current positions. 73 MPPs remaining is still enough to do something with them, and we do have some units up here that could still be reinforced. We'll get the 3rd Mechanized up to snuff. We'll get the Rifle Corps here up to snuff, and then we're down to 11 MPPs, so that's going to be everything that we can do for the USSR. We have 2 more units, a Mechanized and a Corps, ready to go to the front next turn, kind of keeping up with our total unit losses as we push forward, and when we're done actually reinforcing units to send them to the front, which we only have 1 more Corps, other than the ones, that are going to have to fall back every time the Germans actually attack us, then we can start purchasing new units. And it won't be that hard, because we can reform things that have died for cheaper prices. So rather than paying $225 or more with upgrades, $263, we could instead go for something that we've already lost for only $158, and that's an army. There's some corps we've lost, garrisons, which are less important, special forces. So we can definitely keep up this momentum with the way things are going. However, for now, I am happy to end this episode here and end on a happy note with the USSR, pulling off quite a lot of the offensive stuff that I wanted to do, currently doing a lot more by June of 1942 than they otherwise would have. We have a lot of key breakthrough points that we're going to see progressing here soon, such as in Minsk and the north. And hell, we've been pushing in the south, and they're having a hard time rooting us out, killing 1 or 2 units here or there or otherwise. We have many more to come, and they're having a hard time keeping up with every front. That's a little moralizing. That's a little bit of a booster. I'm quite happy with all this. For now, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.